Hey guys, welcome to my channel. There's a lot of spoilers ahead, so viewer discretion is advised. So let's jump in. The movie today we are going to recap is The Cloverfield Paradox. Prior to the film's opening, an off-screen news report warns that an impending energy crisis is leading numerous nations to threaten war. When Hamilton, Gugu Mbatha Raw, and her husband Michael, Jamie Foxx, arrive at the airport Roger Davies, they are stalled in traffic and talk about the regular blackouts caused by the energy problem. Hamilton has been invited to join a mission aboard the Cloverfield space station to test the Shepard particle accelerator which, if operational, would give the Earth with endless energy. The title scene shows the team testing the Shepard for the 100th time on station 2 years into the mission. In addition to the captain, the crew includes Monk, John Ortiz, the crew doctor, Mundy, Chris O'Dowd, the Irish technician, Schmidt, Daniel Bruhl, a German scientist working on the Shepard, Tam, Sidi Zhang, a Chinese scientist working on the Shepard, Volkov, Axel Henny, a Russian scientist in charge of life support and the ship's electronics, and Keel, David Oy. The particle accelerator fails to produce more energy than it receives. Hamilton is shown telling her husband on Earth via camera that the test failed and they only have enough fuel for 3 more tests. On board the ship, Volkov accuses Schmidt of taking too long with the testing, while Russia is running out of energy and threatening war on the West. These claims are denied by Schmidt and diffused by Keel. The group prepares for another test. As Monk watches Earth News, Mark Stambler, Donald Logg, is interviewed in the news story and warns that if the Shepard becomes operational, monsters, demons, and animals from the sea may enter the present realm, as well as other dimensions in past and future timelines. The team rejects it and starts the test. The particle accelerator seems to operate this time, but immediately overloads, generating significantly more energy than typical. It catches fire, and the condensation mechanism that was supposed to cool it down fails, so Tam suggests venting it. After rectifying this, the team realizes they are no longer circling Earth. They first think they inadvertently destroyed the planet when testing the Shepard, but later realize they've been warped to a distant region of the galaxy. Meanwhile, the crew realizes that the gyro, a navigational instrument that helps the ship to determine its bearings, has mysteriously vanished. When they open the wall panel where the cries come from, they find a young lady, Elizabeth Debicki, fused with electrical wires within. They are able to rescue her and restore her health using sophisticated medical technology, but are surprised because she appears to recognize Hamilton. Michael wakes up to a huge explosion on Earth. Then he checks his phone and finds contradicting stories, presuming the Russians assaulted the city. He chooses to go to the hospital to assist the alleged victims. Volkov notices that his eyeballs are drifting out of orbit on their own. He then overcomes the security restrictions of an onboard 3D printer to create a firearm and ammo. He then meets Schmidt on X-Tech, where the Shepard can be fixed, and accuses him of working for his country's intelligence agency. He falls on the ground and is transported to the ship's bridge, where he convulses and worms from the ship's laboratory erupt within him, killing him. Hamilton learns from the young lady in the medical bay that her name is Jensen, and she claims to be a crew member of the Cloverfield save for Tam. She then tells Hamilton not to trust Schmidt. An off-screen inquiry reveals that the German is really working for the German government, destroying the Shepard to bring down Russia due to the energy crisis. Schmidt disputes it, but Keel confines him until further notice. Michael is on the phone with an agency contact who says they have lost communication with his wife's station. He stops the automobile in front of a demolished structure. A huge dark creature enters through the smoke then vanishes, while a youngster Cloverny cries for rescue. Michael helps her. Mundy's arm gets pulled into the wall panel while he repairs it. When Keel and Hamilton come to help him, they find his arm detached from his body. Monk observes that he seems to be born without rather than having brutally removed. Unknown forces released Schmidt out of the confined area. Surprisingly, Mundy's arm is crawling about the ship on its own. The remainder of the team comes and catches it, discovering it is trying to communicate. The crew hands it a pen, and it writes them to unlock Volkov Corps. They find it within the Russian Corps. They are still in the solar system, but the Earth is on the other side of the sun. It's been 14 months since the Cloverfield station was destroyed, but they've re-established contacts with the planet. They conclude that the Shepard established a portal to another realm, which they visited, causing the ship's abnormalities. They are now so far away from the Earth because the Earth's orbit led it to shift 14 months into the future. The dimension they're in is Jensen's and likely Mundy's arms as well. This explains how Jensen knows the crew, why she doesn't know Tam, she replaced Tam in Jensen's reality, and why they think Schmidt is a spy. His counterpart in Jensen's dimension worked for the German government. They think they can return to their own dimension by replicating the final test with the Shepherd. Back on Earth, Michael and Molly travel to a friend's shelter to avoid the strange continuous war in the city. When Tam arrives at sea, she realizes that the Shepherd failed because moisture from the cooling system tainted the test results. Ventilation, on the other hand, would have provided a stable beam. She enters one of the airlocks to test the idea, but she is trapped inside as water from the condensation system fills the area. The other crew members try to rescue her, but the water exerts pressure on the outside door of the airlock, breaking it open and killing Tam. Keel assigns Jensen to X-Tech to replace Tam, since the two had the same function in their respective universes' crews. Michael and Molly are panicking in the shelter when they hear loud sounds and strong shaking, and the electricity goes out. Jensen tells Hamilton that her children, who perished in Hamilton's dimension when a power core in their home failed and caused a fire, are alive and well in Jensen's, so she stays in this dimension. Keel, first hesitant, eventually accepts her choice. The team decides to turn off the life support, leaving just 2 hours of oxygen for the crew. It's a tiny storage compartment, so Mundy succeeds, but a magnetic disturbance sends his tools and a gas canister flying towards the wall, triggering an explosion that kills him and damages the ship. To preserve the rest of the ship, Keel, Hamilton, and Monk must enter the damaged section and eject it into space. When Keel arrives, he understands he must seal the airlock behind him to rescue the rest of his crew. On Earth, Michael calls Hamilton and tells her that the only thing they can do is rescue the people they can. On the station, the rest of the crew rushes to execute their plan, with Hamilton notifying Schmidt and Monk of her choice to stay. Jensen steals Volkov's revolver and takes it with her and Hamilton to the escape shuttle, where she shoots Hamilton and returns to X-Tech. When Hamilton wakes up, she hears Jensen shoot Monk and finds him dead. On X-Tech, she finds Jensen brandishing a pistol at a wounded Schmidt. According to Jensen, keeping the Cloverfield station in her reality would save the planet's inhabitants, and she would cheerfully murder 3 individuals to rescue 8 billion. Schmidt knocks her down with a nearby metal rod, enabling Hamilton to flee. Later, Schmidt gets shot in the shoulder. Jensen pursues Hamilton through the ship, who surprises her and tries to seize the pistol. Inability to secure the pistol, Hamilton chooses to fire 3 shots into a neighboring window, causing Jensen to be sucked out and killed. While in the parallel realm, Hamilton records an audio message alerting her counterpart about the danger of the power cell within the home, and links the Shepherd's data to the message. Then she and Schmidt re-overload the Shepherd, returning to their realm. They establish radio communication with Earth and a steady beam for the Shepherd, completing their mission. After creating a limitless energy source, they tell Earth of this and prepare to jettison to the surface. Meanwhile, Michael's agency contact tells him they've succeeded and are returning to the surface. Michael retorts furiously that they shouldn't have returned to Earth while these creatures were still there. The closing scene shows the shuttle overcoming the cloud barrier, followed by a huge monster, like the one that devastated New York City in Cloverfield, 2008, busting through the clouds and roaring.